Hi everyone, my name is Ambica and today I'm going to be talking about comparison. Yes, comparison. It is definitely not going to be one of those videos where I'm going to be solutioning comparison. I'm not going to be saying, hey, these are the 5 quick tips or takeaways and this is what's going to cure or just help you get rid of the feeling of comparison. It's quite the contrary. It's just going to be me sharing about the feeling of comparison, how I feel it, how I have internalized it. So I'm going to share a little bit about my past. I'm going to also share a little bit about how I feel presently. I'm then going to go on to share a poem I've written about comparison and explain the meaning of that poem. So talking about the past, comparison is something I don't know honestly if we are born with, because where I am concerned, I don't think I truly ever felt like I was comparing myself to anyone else when I was growing up. Well into my adult life, actually, I had that sense of detachment, you can call it, or you can call it a Zen state of mind. I'm not sure what the right word is. But I was so self-focused and so content in what I was doing or just focusing on myself. I really didn't bother comparing myself to other people. I was definitely aware of the fact that there were many people doing better, I would say, than me. And I had a lot of people in my family, in my first circle of friends and family who were, I would say, by social standards of societal norms, doing better than me academically, doing other things better than me. But I never really, and I mean, there's no end really, right? Even if you are a PhD, there's someone always going to be out there who's a postdoc or has a double postdoc, or someone who has done it at Harvard and then also gone and done it at MIT. There's really never an end to it. But interestingly, that never really bothered me. It wasn't something of concern to me. I was on my path. I always felt like I was blessed. I actually did. I did not want to lose that spirit. I did not want to lose that feeling ever, because I saw people a lot of times sad. I wouldn't use the word miserable because it does have a very, very negative as well as a very strong meaning, but I would say they would be sad. They would want to compare themselves. I was very driven. I was very ambitious. I was very clear in my head that I had the capabilities to excel in life and I was pretty able, but at the same time I was devoid of any feelings of comparison. Quite honestly, without sounding too full of myself, I think I couldn't care less. I truly couldn't care less what others were up to. I did feel like the world was my oyster. I had so much going for me. To be very specific, I felt like there was always an opportunity ahead of me to grasp if I wanted to, and I felt like I had a choice. I was blessed that way, and I also felt that way, that I always had a choice to make where I could choose to work hard and take the opportunity that was up for grabs or not. So this was a little bit about my past. 2-3 years ago, it quite changed. And I don't know what really changed it. I wouldn't say that I have gotten to a level where I am, again, constantly comparing. I have made a conscious effort of still latching on to that Zen state of mind that I've always had while growing up. But at the same time, something started to shift. I started to feel that I was looking outside and I was looking less inside. So if I had to give it a percentage divide, I was probably looking 60% outside and 40% inside. So every time we do tend to look outside, we are devoiding ourselves of the focus that we can have internally. And this is something I have definitely analyzed. And yeah, I was definitely looking less inwards versus how much I was looking outwards. And I was comparing myself to people outside, and what it really did for me was not help in some way. If I had to remove myself and objectively view what I was doing, objectively observe myself, I came to understand quite quickly quickly within the span of past 2-3 years was that by just focusing outside versus inside, a lot of negative emotions started to sprout up. Envy being one of them, pity or regret being a second. I would say envy, self-pity, regret, and these started slowly creeping up. And instead of, myself getting empowered by these feelings, which I'm certain that these feelings are not meant to empower people, like whoever got empowered by self-pity or regrets. I mean, I haven't come across anyone like that, and I certainly did not get empowered by those feelings either. What it did do is I would wallow in these feelings. I would just blanket myself in these feelings, and I would think about all the times that I took a wrong step in my life, or what I could have done better. Those are different things. Like, I could have done something better, looking at it from a perspective of, okay, here's something I could have done better. Let me just improve on it and do better in my life and make it happen. Yes, let's go. Versus, oh man, it's a gone thing and I'm never going to have the opportunity, and it's gone, it's in the past. I don't know if it's a thing of where you start growing older, you start feeling like maybe these are normal feelings. I don't know when you start feeling like there are way more opportunities in front of you, you feel this less. I'm not sure, and I don't have the answer, but this is what I started to observe when I started to get devoid of the feeling of looking within versus outside, and started to think about or started to compare myself. Coming to the present, I am someone who does tend to analyze a lot, and I feel like I've come to the conclusion. I mean, you can watch a bunch of videos, you can read a ton of self-help books. Yes, they do change your perspective and they do slowly shift your perspective. And even this video, as an example, it's just sharing, but things do tend to happen where your perspective will change bit by bit. But it's not going to be overnight, and it's not going to be magical, like, oh, you know what, I'm born today, I read this book, and tomorrow, wham bam, like I'm just a new person. I personally don't think that's how things work out. So I feel like, having observed and analyzed the past 2-3 years in my life, I feel like what I've done is I have, by logical deduction, arrived at certain conclusions for my own self. And now versus the past. So when I was a child, it came very effortlessly, where I was absolutely happy, la-di-da-da, life was like blissful, it was all about me, I was so self-absorbed in a good way, I was focusing on myself in a good way. Versus now, versus 2-3 years ago, I was just in this pit where I was like definitely looking outwards more than inwards. Versus now, having analyzed both those set of years in my life, I've come to a conclusion that now is going to take more effort, but it's not something that's not going to happen or it's impossible. Things are not going to be effortless like they were when I was growing up, or like they were 7-8 years ago, or even 5 years ago. They're going to require more effort. Effort is key now. So by effort, I mean like when I start going or drifting into this pit of maybe walling myself in deep regret or pity, or just being like, what the hell, like I could have done that, I could have invested here better, I could have taken up that job, I could have done many things better. I consciously choose to remove myself from it. I consciously try and take a step back and observe myself. I'm definitely not a monk. I'm not someone who has it all sorted out, and I'm very much a part of the society. I think, to be fair, I am on this journey where I am discovering something new about myself each day, and the hope is to make the right kind of efforts to observe myself, to learn about myself, so that I can understand myself to the best of my capabilities. And that really is what it is. Having said that, I mean, there's so much out there which is about comparison. As rightly said, it is a thief of joy. It is something that does harbor a lot of negative emotions. It can be something which a lot of us face, and I don't think there is a quick fix. I don't think, and it does take years of effort, be it in the form of meditation, be it in the form of something else. I'm sure there is a way. For me, self-observation, analysis, trying to understand, observe myself as objectively as possible does help. For someone else, it might be something else. And for some, I've heard just writing on a piece of paper, documenting things, meditating. These are some of the things that I've heard people do feel changes them for the best. I'm on that part of the video where I'm going to read out the poem that I wrote. The title of the poem is Don't Compare. Through different paths we meander in life. For your highs may be my dips may be your highs. Still the comparison between you, me and even thy neighbor remains so rife. For some reason we believe in the roadmap to success therein lies, and therein starts our eternal struggles and strife. So, just to elaborate or explain the poem a little bit, it is about how internal struggles do arouse from, some of the internal struggles can arise from comparison. And even though our paths in life from someone who we are comparing ourselves to can be so different, can be completely different. I mean, they might be of different age groups, they might be even of different genders, they might even have a different idea of success altogether, but we find ourselves comparing to them and we get so wound up into that mesh. We get so tied down and so tied up. What it really just leads to is struggles and strife. So here's my chat, I would say, on comparison. Do let me know in the comments below what you think about it, what your struggles with comparison has been. If you tend to compare yourself, where in life do you find yourself today? In this journey called life and this emotion called comparison, where do you find yourself? I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much and have yourself a really, really nice day. Bye.